Today on Dr. Phil.
I was completely blindsided when my mother took custody of my children.
She lost her parental rights.
Your grandchildren were dropped off in the middle of the night with just a Post-it note.
They need me to take care of them because you are not.
Now,
I moved into my mom's attic.
You're making a choice to stay up there instead of be with your children.
she says she's sober
I've opened a successful business.
They kicked you out for failure to pay.
and wants her kids back.
It's my God-given right.
You don't show up for Christmas, you don't show up for Thanksgiving. They're your kids, it's your job to get there. If she would give you those kids back right now, what the hell would you do with them? Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Well, Leanne admits that in the past she hasn't been the best mom, but says that was no reason for her mother to go behind her back and steal her children from her. Leanne says she is doing everything in her power to show Deborah that she's changed, including closing her successful hair salon and moving into her mother's attic just to be closer to her children.
I've made mistakes in the past, but I was completely blindsided when my mother went behind my back and took custody of my children. I've completely turned my life around. I've maintained sobriety for the past 3 years. I've opened a successful business, but my mom gives me no credit, no respect. My mom stands between me and my children, using her own power to withhold them from me. She has given me stay-away orders and made it difficult to have contact with my children. To be closer to my children and to be part of their everyday lives. I made the choice to close the doors to the salon, and I moved into my mom's home. I stay upstairs in the attic. I'm living here, but it's restricted to really just the bathroom and the kitchen. It has become a prison. The second that I step out of the attic, she will instigate a fight. She's just throwing daggers at me. What kind of mother hangs out in the attic all day? You know, who does that? Even though I'm in the house now, she still feels it necessary to monitor every single move I make. I can't take the kids anywhere. She has put blocks on my children's phone to interrupt our interactions. I'm not allowed to pick them up from school. I'm blocked from the pickup list. This is my daughter's room. I am really not allowed to have intimate time with my daughter. It's always supervised. If I was able to parent the children, I am absolutely confident that I would do a better job. I need to have my God-given rights restored to me as a parent. I want the respect that I deserve.
Well, there's two sides to this, as you might guess. Deborah says that Leanne, she really hasn't changed one bit. In fact, Deborah claims Leanne didn't close down successful businesses, that she, in fact, was evicted from all 3 of her successful hair salons for not paying rent, and most recently was removed from her salon by the police, had her car confiscated, held as collateral, and became homeless and started living in a U-Haul. But that's not the only reason Leanne lost custody of her children. According to Deborah, the final straw was when 2 complete strangers dropped her grandchildren off in the middle of the night with nothing but a Post-it note with Deborah's address on it.
Leanne has said she spent the last few years bettering herself. In fact, all she has done is just go totally backwards. She'll tell anybody and everyone how her children are everything to her, where they are the bottom of the totem pole. She's just never home, never with the kids, never does anything motherly. It may be midnight. If she comes home at all, days go by, we don't hear from her.
And all of this is dating back years.
To better. Nope.
Dating back years. This is none of this
is
information
today. She just has no natural instinct to be a mother. When it comes to being a parent, it is me and their grandfather. Leanne has missed so much of their lives. Holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Happy birthday to you.
Leanne didn't even show up for her own birthday party. It was pathetic. At this point, her kids don't even ask anymore.
I have been in the home. I choose to
You
be
have
here.
been in the attic.
I have other places.
If you weren't in the attic, you were in the tent. Leanne is now living in my attic, but rather than come downstairs, play games, or take the kids outside, she'll spend the day up in the attic. Leanne will say that she sacrificed her lucrative business to be with her children. That is just totally absurd. Leanne and her business partner lost 3 salons because they couldn't pay the rent. They were living in the 3rd salon. The sheriff showed up at their door to physically remove them. They were shocked. She came home because she had no place else to go. I firmly believe that if she hit the lottery tomorrow, we'd never see her again.
She's saying that you're in the house, but you don't even come down and spend time with the children?
I am in the house, and it's a decision that I made to go back to the house to be able to be with them.
You're making a choice to stay up there instead of be with your children.
No, I come downstairs. I help to do bathing and showers.
Well, that's not what you told me. You actually said that you choose not to come down because it is awkward because she's hovering over you and judging everything you do, and that creates tension, so you'd just rather not do it. That's what you said.
It does pose that as a way in which, you know, when I do come down to be with the kids, there's always hovering and interrupting of my time with them.
Well, I'm trying to find out who's telling me the straight up truth here so I can figure out how I can help.
Right.
Did you close 3 lucrative businesses here, or were you in fact evicted for failing to pay the rent and put out by the police?
I could understand how that would look, and that would be interpreted from an outside perspective.
Here's your statement. I left the first location because the lease was up. Well, the evidence is the landlord gave you 5-day notice. You are hereby notified that there is now due to the undersigned landlord the sum of $1,000 unless payments made. Your lease of said premises will be terminated. That was the first place. Then your statement, you moved from the second location because we expanded. That was the second location.
Right.
But the evidence is the studio license termination agreement. Your license agreement has been terminated for failure to pay license fee. And then your statement closing the salon, the 3rd location, was incredibly hard. I did it because I felt it was the only way to get my mother to see how serious I was about being there for my kids. But the evidence, it is ordered by the court that the plaintiff recover possession of the subject premises, unpaid rent, use, and occupation. The judgment total $6,205.34 plus post-judgment interest until date of payment. You were kicked out because you owed them $6,500, not because you were expanding.
No, not because we're expanding. By the time we got to the 3rd location, it was severe health issues.
You just told me I had 3 successful businesses. I closed the last one because we were expanding so much that we just needed to grow. No. When in fact, they hauled you to court because you owed them $6,500 and they kept your car as collateral.
That was the 3rd location. The first.
Correct.
The first successful business, I said we were there for a year until the end of our lease agreement.
Didn't you just tell me you closed the 3rd one? It was a sacrifice to be with your children.
It was, and we weren't able to.
You didn't close it.
They
closed it for you because you owed them money. There was no sacrifice. They kicked you out for failure to pay and kept your car, and you moved to a U-Haul. True?
True.
Then why are you sitting here telling me I sacrificed this flourishing business to be with my children?
I know it appears that way based off the evidence. And that's the truth. That's the truth. I mean, it's, you know, unfortunately, it's not funny. It's a life or death thing. And it got to a point where by the time we did make it to our 3rd location, we thought based off the income that we were generating that we'd be able to uphold that rent. And we weren't able to do it. And we decided.
I get that. Listen, business is, it's tough.
It is.
I don't fault you for that. I applaud you for trying to do that.
Thank you.
My problem is, why are you sitting here telling me A when it's B? That causes me to call into question everything else you have to say.
I understand why you would think that. And yes, we were kicked out of the 3rd location. But at the end of the day, the kids were more important to me. And so I just, you know, I've got to do whatever I can do to fix it and to prove that I am emotionally available to be there for my children.
We're going to take a break here, but I want you to tell me about the day your grandchildren were dropped off in the middle of the night with just a Post-it note. I really want to hear about that. So Leanne isn't alone up in the attic. Deborah says Leanne's, quote, psychotic girlfriend is living up there too. Before moving in, this business partner pitched a tent behind Deborah's house just to be near Leanne. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to find out about these children being dropped off in the middle of the night with a Post-it note. We'll be right back.
My mom treats Shamalia as an outsider, somebody that doesn't belong. She barely treats Shamalia like she's human.
She's dangerous, abusive. One time, Leanne came home. She had a black eye with broken blood vessels in her eye, and Shamalia's done nothing but cause turmoil.
And later, you just tell me it didn't happen. I was supposed to go, oh, okay.
No, not at all.
Deborah has stolen Leanne's voice. She hasn't been using drugs for 3 to 4 years.
Why are you speaking for her?
Because this is the bully.
Last December, my daughter was rushed to the emergency room for intensive stomach pain. She was admitted to the hospital locally in our town and then was transferred to a children's hospital immediately that evening. And the next morning was in emergency surgery, which was life-changing for me because I wasn't notified of this happening.
Around 6 in the morning, the doctors came in and said, we're going to have to take her in for emergency surgery. I contacted Leanne and said, going down for surgery. She did not contact me until she was already in recovery. Rather than saying, oh my gosh, I'll be right there, she started ranting and raving about how I had no right to allow this surgery to happen without her permission. I couldn't reach her. I did what I had to do for my granddaughter, and her feelings were not my priority.
She was completely out of line.
Okay, she says you were completely out of line, but you have full custody of these children,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
She has no parental rights at this
Right,
point.
that's
You
correct.
make medical decisions, educational decisions. You make all the decisions for these children because you have full custody.
Complete custody.
And part of the reason you do is because of her failure to step up as a mother. And one of the examples of that is these children being dropped off by people that were strangers to you, at least. She put your address on a Post-it note.
Well, this was at the end of the weekend.
But they showed up at your house.
She disappeared Friday morning. She was high that day. They were gone all weekend, and sometime around 11 o'clock on Sunday night, we get a knock at the door, and it's this young couple. I said, who are you? Why do you have my grandchildren? They showed me a little yellow sticky that had my address on it and said, someone just told us to bring these kids here. Leanne wasn't with them. We didn't even find out where she was till the next day.
Which was where?
This person who had picked her up on Friday morning realized there was something horribly wrong with her and put her on an ambulance and sent the kids, thank God, didn't leave them on the side of the road somewhere, but sent the kids home.
Now, there's a pattern here. Does she show up for holidays?
Not this year. None of them
She didn't
at
show
all.
up for Christmas.
She did not show up for Christmas.
Thanksgiving, did she show up?
Thanksgiving, no.
What's
Happy
more
birthday
important
to
than
their
being with
mother.
your children on Thanksgiving or Christmas?
There's nothing that's more important.
Well, apparently there is, because you weren't there.
Circumstances- Right, and
What was more important than being there?
there was nothing more important. I was without a car. It was circumstances that every time that I go back into the home, she makes it very clear, get out, get out, get out. And all the conflict happens in front of the children. And I understand that based off the evidence that she is presenting today, it appears as though it's just it's some denial form. But what she's stating dates back about 5 years ago, at least 5 years ago.
Well, here's the text from your son, and this was last year. This isn't 5 years ago. This was last Christmas.
Correct. I'm stuck
December
with no car.
24th, 2017. Leanne, 3:10 p.m. Hi, son. Hey, Leanne, I'm stuck with no car trying to figure out so I can visit you, son. Sure, you are a liar. Leanne, it hasn't been running for about a week now. Don't speak to me like that. I have no reason to lie to you. I want nothing more than to be with you. And your sister, son, 4:25 p.m. Are you coming over? Leanne, not able to without her making it difficult to enjoy time with you. I'm sorry, but going to court soon. This is our last year suffering like this. Son, when you going to court? Leanne, don't worry about that, babe. I'll keep you updated on everything that occurs. You don't need to be subjected to all this conflict. You're a child, and I'm going to protect you, son, period.
And that's why I'm here today. You know, the evidence, I understand, appears as though it's very deceptive and very deceiving. I admit that I have faults. I admit that I've done very wrong in the past. I've made bad choices. I have a history of substance abuse, but these allegations that she's making, I have since proven to no longer be true.
Now, Leanne's not alone in the attic. She says that her business partner, Shamilia, who is also her girlfriend, is living there too, which infuriates Deborah.
Shamilia uses her fantastic management skills to direct me and guide me.
The more resentment I release, the more love I have to express.
Shamilia has taught me and instilled a system of daily affirmations that teaches me to renew my strength.
And as I learn to love myself,
I find it easier to forgive.
amen.
The daily affirmations help me to survive. If it wasn't for her, I would not be where I am today.
Leanne is completely brainwashed. Leanne feels like she's nothing without Shamilia. But where are you now, Leanne? You're in my attic.
I feel as though she makes my relationship the focus of all of this. And the reason why I'm asking for help
You do make your relationship the focus of this. Shamilia's done nothing but cause complete turmoil. I just did a simple Google search. I immediately found that she had done assault and battery, with a deadly weapon, breaking and entering. She robbed a pizza place. The very first night I met Shamilia, she assaulted my brother-in-law. Another time, my neighbor saw Shamilia attacking my daughter and believed her to be a male and ended up punching Shamilia in the face and he knocked her out. One time, Leanne came home. She had a black eye with broken blood vessels in her eye, and each time Leanne will make an excuse for her. When they did get evicted from the third salon, Shamilia, she ended up pitching a tent beside my house.
This is actually the tent that I lived in for about a month. It's within sight of Leanne's mom's house.
It's brutally hot outside. I said, Leanne, she can come in and take a shower. And that was about 5 weeks ago. And she's still in my attic. I want her out of my daughter's life, but most importantly, I want her out of the children's life. Well, I want it to be over.
Well, Shamilia is here. She claims to be Leanne's protector and says she is sick and tired of watching Leanne being disrespected by Deborah. Well, we're going to meet her after the break.
Currently living here in the attic. Deborah made it very clear that she does not want me here. Deborah is convinced that I'm brainwashing Leanne. Deborah treats Leanne as if she is a 2-year-old. I am here to protect. That's my purpose.
And later, if I was the guy you drew in court, it would be the shortest interview you've ever had.
Based on the facts that are presented.
No, based on the conversation I'm having with you right now.
I'm not sure why it's funny. It's serious.
What's funny is your unwillingness to hear.
When Leanne's with Shamilia, I'm always worried about her safety. There was one time they were staying in a hotel. Leanne sent me a text message saying that she was in fear for her own safety. She ran across the street to an Applebee's. She was hysterical, calling me and saying, please come get me. I went there, and she was all bruised up. She had scratches on her neck, cuts on her ear, and she was complaining of pain. They took her to urgent care. She had bruised up ribs. In the x-rays, there were previous fractures. It's very, very sad.
Well, Deborah claims her daughter Leanne has abandoned her children to care for her dangerous live-in girlfriend, Shamilia. Now, Shamilia says she is Leanne's only supporter because Deborah is more interested in degrading and shaming Leanne than allowing her to be a mother.
It was very important for me to live like this because I had to prove to her parents that I am 100% dedicated to Leanne. I am here to protect Leanne. That's my purpose. Deborah treats Leanne as if she is a 2-year-old.
The past, I feel as though, is held against me every single day.
Because the past is still in the present.
The past is not the present.
Deborah torments, criticizes, manipulates, shames, and guilts Leanne. Leanne's mother has been such a roadblock in her relationship with her children. Deborah will accuse her of abandoning her children, which is ironic because she's right there with her children. Deborah is completely disgusted with my presence. Currently living here in the attic. Deborah made it very clear that she does not want me here. Deborah blames me for the fact that her daughter demands respect for herself. Leanne's mother is a pain in the butt for me because she has tried to drive a wedge between Leanne and myself by constantly pointing out things from the past, one being my criminal record. On a few occasions, I lashed out, I physically assaulted Leanne, and I choked her, and I know that that is not okay. Deborah refuses to accept my relationship with Leanne. Leanne is not to have a relationship with me if she wants a relationship with her children, and it's not fair.
So you two have been in a relationship for how long?
About 2.5 years.
2.5 years? Okay.
Yeah.
And you were also involved together in the salon business, correct?
Correct.
So you were there for all 3 evictions?
Well, there was only one. Well, there was 2 evictions, so I had to.
Resume-wise, that wouldn't look very good.
Resume-wise?
Yeah.
Well,
if somebody said, show me your track record.
well, I'm a self-made entrepreneur, so I never show my resume.
But it wouldn't look very good if you did, because...
It wouldn't look very good if they were looking at it from a standpoint of Deborah's point of view, you know? You can paint this picture in a negative way, but Leanne...
Well, I'm not painting the picture.
No,
I'm just looking at it. It's in a frame, and I'm looking at it, and it says eviction, eviction, eviction. I'm not commenting on whether you succeed or fail. I'm commenting on the fact that you expect me to just go, oh, okay. You just tell me that it didn't happen. You just tell me it didn't happen. I'm supposed to go, oh, okay.
No, not at all. We admit that we weren't able to uphold.
I can read the court records. You're evicted.
Okay.
Right.
The basis is the business has nothing to do with the children.
That's
the priority.
Okay,
But the
well, let's
business,
talk
but the
about
focus
that.
of this right now is the business.
Okay, let's forget about the business, okay?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Let's just forget about the business.
The original reason she's stating that, you know, the kids came back with a Post-it note and what have you.
Yeah.
This was not, I mean, this was at least 5 years ago, and I was in active addiction. I admit that I did terribly wrong.
Gotcha.
And the people that I was with,
Gotcha.
I had to be rushed to the emergency room, and I said, just make sure my children get home.
If I could just interject, first and foremost, Deborah has stolen Leanne's voice, which makes it very difficult for her to defend herself. She hasn't been using drugs for 3 to 4 years
Why
now.
are you speaking for her?
Because this is the bully. This is the bully. This is the bully that has taken. And the point of the matter is that at the end of the day, every time Leanne steps into her children's lives, she pushes her out.
Shamilia claims that she's helping Leanne get her parental rights restored. But how does texting Deborah that she won't be missed when she dies help that cause? I'm going to let her explain that ploy after the break.
Yeah, we could dig up dirt.
You've already admitted that you cannot take care of these children, that it's not something...
We have record. I should have the children back in my life because it's my God-given right.
Shamilia has antagonized me in so many ways. It's just started with a series of horrible, nasty, derogatory texts. Can't even tolerate your ass. And you like that. telling me what an awful person I am, how I'm going to burn in hell, my grandchildren hate me. Cry, cry, cry. You sit and watch them suffer. You're sick, and when you're dead, you won't be missed. One time, Shamilia sent me a text telling me my dad died to get away from me and that she wished I was dead like him. She knew that my dad had just passed away. It's just so utterly disrespectful.
Well, calls to the police, vile text messages, physical altercations, all between grown women who claim to want the best for two young children they are fighting over. You have 2 domestic assault and battery charges against you. Incident report of September 13, 2017. Officers were dispatched with fire department for a female shouting for help in the street. Male witness knocked out. Shamilia thinking it was a male beating a female. Shamilia told Leanne if she had to live in her car, then so did Leanne. Leanne tried to get out, and Shamilia tried to hold her in the car. Could see 3 scratch marks on Leanne's neck. Scratches came when she grabbed Leanne as she struggled to get out of the car. Shamilia transported to hospital. She is charged with 265/13M, domestic assault and battery, intimate partner. So that's one occurrence. Okay, then assault and battery, family, household member arrest. This is October of 17. Reported witness stated she saw Shamilia yelling at Leanne, observed Shamilia throw black binder at Leanne, became agitated, grabbed Leanne around her throat with one hand and quickly released. Shamilia placed under arrest for assault and battery, placed in handcuffs, double locked, transported to police department. So you're saying that she should return these children
To Leanne.
to a couple.
Not to a couple, but to Leanne. I'm saying that she
You tell me you're going to leave when the children come?
I'm willing. I am beyond willing. The only thing is first and foremost, I just want to address the charges on me. Those charges were before I had an incident with my medical.
Well, you have a prior history to that. I mean,
my prior history was at 16.
Police didn't start with just this.
That was at 16. I'm now 30. Okay, the assault and battery that she looked up prior to even meeting me.
Well, no, not when you were 16.
When I was 16.
This is in 2011.
Oh, that was selling drugs. That has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with physical abuse.
What?
That has nothing to do with physical abuse.
But I mean, all jokes aside, people can
you were
turn their
arrested.
life around.
You were arrested for intimidating a witness.
And I used to use drugs, but today things are completely different.
Haven't you contacted your mother and said, I'm scared to death of this woman?
I have in the past, yes, absolutely. I am not denying that.
And I was reacting to the fact that she would be completely stuck mentally, and I didn't realize the reason why she wasn't responding to my issues of being neglected was because her mother was constantly critical of her every time she stepped in the house.
Listen, okay, to clarify, we have a history of abuse. And, you know, going back to her history, she has suffered abuse too. But
that wasn't the point. You meant what you said when you were writing your mother. In the moment, you meant
In the moment, there were times that I did feel as though I wasn't safe.
At the end of the day, we've had emails and texts, and you've already admitted that you cannot take care of these children. That it's not something
we have.
You
we
admitted.
have record
of
that.
We
Just
sent
as if
all
you
the
have
information
record
to Dr. Phil.
Why should you have these children back in your life?
I should have the children back in my life because I have, first of all, because it's my God-given right. My children are of my highest priority. And now she's talking about the main subject matter that she said, the first opportunity we get to speak with you to get help. She wants to talk about something that happened when I was in active addiction.
Were you addicted at Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Not at all.
But you didn't show up.
I didn't show up. I didn't show up.
There was no offer for a ride either.
It was a snowstorm. I wasn't able to come there. And I said it was absolutely killing me that I couldn't be with them.
If you know anything about me at all, you know I'm about reunifying families, not fracturing families. And Robin and I were just on Capitol Hill. We were invited to come and speak before a bipartisan committee in Congress about diverting money from the foster care program and spending that money to keep mothers and their children together when mothers are addicted and going into treatment.
Amazing.
So they can stay with their mothers during treatment rather than separating them. And Robin, you feel very passionately about keeping mothers and children together when they're fighting particularly opioid addiction, correct?
I think it's a huge incentive for both the children and the mother and the entire family unit, that they stay together and get help and see the mother succeed.
And there's great evidence that it works.
Right.
But that is not what has happened, and there is a formula for this working, and you may not like the answers, but I'm going to tell you what the reality is when we come back.
Great.
Maybe this was a mistake for her to write in, but I don't believe that.
But you don't really get a vote. You asked for my thoughts on
Yes,
this.
and
so
I'm ready to hear it.
You say you want those kids back. And if she would give you those kids back right now, what the hell would you do with them?
I'm just looking for a plan of action, for a goal, for an insight, for us to be able to work on a daily basis as to how can we get to a better point.
Let me get very specific. Now, it's different from state to state, but there are 10 parental fitness factors that you have to demonstrate to have any chance of restoring your role as a parent. You have to provide a safe, stable, and secure environment.
Right now, I can't do that. I understand.
You can't do that.
I know.
You have to maintain a loving, stable, consistent, nurturing relationship with your child. The court looks at that and say you didn't show up for your own birthday party when they bake you a cake. You don't show up for Christmas. You don't show up for Thanksgiving. You say, did you offer her a ride? It's not her job to offer her a ride. They're your kids. It's your job to get there.
She said she said I didn't show up, but when you're not invited.
What's that?
She says I didn't show up as if there was like this wonderful invitation, but it's just showing up on a daily basis, showing up and me being able to be present. She presents a very beautiful case here, okay? But the actuality of it at home is she is irrational. She is always on, it's like walking on eggshells. You can't communicate with her. She doesn't accept me for who I am at my core and understand
Leanne,
who I am.
here's the reality. You want a reality lesson here?
Absolutely. Reality, slap it right on
And
in
listen,
my face.
this isn't my rule. It doesn't matter what I think. It's your job to get along with her. She has the children.
But she's not willing to work on a relationship with
It's
me.
your job to get along with her. She has the children.
Right. She's saying, I'm never there, I'm never there. I'm not even driving a car right now, and I am there every day.
Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
I want to be, it doesn't matter about being right. This isn't about being right or wrong or being happy or anything. I want peace for this house. I want reunification. I want unity in this family because that's a top priority, which is why I am here. Yeah. I'm not sure why it's funny. It's serious. This is life and death.
What's funny is your unwillingness to hear. It's not funny. That's nervous laughter. This isn't humorous laughter like comedy club laughter. This is nervous laughter.
But what about
this
her
unwillingness to hear is the same unwillingness to hear that she has to deal with from Deborah.
I care about your advice.
Because listen, when I say I'm trained in forensic psychology, I'm the guy you would be talking to. He might be shorter with hair or something, but I'm the guy.
I know you're the guy.
And if I was the guy you drew in court, it would be the shortest interview you've ever had. Because I would be listening to this and I would say, I got a couple of right fighters here. Next.
Right. Based on the facts that are presented.
No, based on the conversation I'm having with you right now. Because you want to argue and be right. You don't want to win. And listen, I didn't make these up. It's not a matter of whether you think I'm being reasonable. These aren't my rules.
I understand.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe this was a mistake for her to write in, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that it's appropriate for Deborah to ignore the 10 things or that are most
well, I get that, but you don't really get a vote.
Then why is my record even relevant here?
Because you're injecting your situation in.
The family business has nothing to do with me.
You even said you were her protector.
I never did. I never said protector in that sense.
Well, I can play it back for you on tape.
I was trying to protect the purpose of why she went into business.
At this point, we're going to take a break.
Of course.
And when we come back, I'm going to talk to,
you know what it is.
I'm just going to talk to mother and daughter, because that's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
Is mother and daughter. We'll be right back.
Growing up, my mother was very overbearing and overprotective, so I felt that I never really had freedom or trust for that matter. So once I did get the opportunity to go out as a teenager, I definitely went to extremes.
Well, it's been over 2 years since Leanne had custody of her children taken away after her mother, Deborah, petitioned the court and was awarded permanent guardianship of her 2 grandchildren. It's your understanding that that means this isn't revisited. This goes until 18, unless you voluntarily reopen the issue.
Until she can prove
Provide adequate housing and go back to the court and petition the court. That's what I was told I can do at any time. But I have not done that because I know that I have not been in a position to provide adequate housing. What I want is for my mother to be able to look at herself without getting defensive. And you know, I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect and all that, but I'm willing to open up my soul, the doors of my soul to my mother, and not make it about Shamil and not make it about my relationship, because prior to her, we had the same problems.
What she needs to understand is that she is beautiful and talented, and that she doesn't need to depend on some idiot to give her confidence.
You don't need to be calling names of somebody. You don't have to like her, but you don't need to be calling names. I'll let you speak. Let her speak.
She can have a career and be a mother at the same time.
I'm not looking to say, okay, let me get my children back. I didn't expect that to happen today. I mean, I know I have a lot of work to do, but I also know I've done a lot of work. I just want her to be able to own her own flaws and her own, and not use the children to fill a void, an emotional void.
A void for me?
But the fact of the matter is that you're using it as control. So at first it was because of the drugs.
Senior years.
And it's like, so see,
I would like to live a normal life. I love my grandchildren more than anything.
And I am very grateful for that.
I have put their needs before my own. I am taking care of them because they need me to take care of them, because you are not.
I understand that, and I'm grateful. Praise God for that. Honestly, praise God for that. And I'm so grateful that they were never taken into foster care, and DCF didn't have to interject and say that. And I tell her all the time, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to do what I did. And yeah, maybe I didn't do it in the right way, but I did have a path of self-actualization where I can actually look at my own flaws and say, okay, this, and this needs to be addressed so that I can be present for my children.
Where do Deborah and Leanne go from here?
Please.
I'm going to try again to be very specific.
Thank you.
After the break. No court is going to restore your unsupervised visitation, let alone your reunification with these children, when you're in a relationship with someone that has a history of domestic violence with you. Then these things up here, you're going to need to get stable employment. You're going to need to get a stable living situation, not your mother's addict. You're going to need to demonstrate that you can provide some of these things. And then you're going to need to become a predictable, constructive force in these children's lives. And until that happens, you will not move to the next level.
I'm contributing in ways that I am able to, as far as food and providing that, providing their needs, you know, as far as if they need anything for clothing, for sports, anything like that. I also
You need to document all of that on a regular, consistent basis.
I also offer to help contribute to camp and making sure that things were taken. Even though I don't have like a huge steady income at this moment, I'm talking about right now. I'm not talking about how I wasn't there.
You need to demonstrate this on a regular, consistent basis, and you need to document it. And if you do it, then she'll support it, and I'll support it. And we'll get your kids back. It's very doable. Happens all the time. Going forward.
going forward, I would like for things to be at least recognized as far as like, okay, let's make progress.
It's a whole other issue. Whole other issue. You want to get along with her better?
Children.
Whole other issue.
But for the children's sake.
Whole other issue.
I understand. Our relationship, whole nother issue, a whole nother show, whole nother topic.
Let's come back sometime.
For sure. And Shamila, whole nother topic. We'll meet again.
We make it a whole season. We just get you guys coming back on a regular basis.
My man.
All right. I want to thank all of my guests today. I'll see you next time. Seriously, listen up. Thanks, guys.
Bounce, bounce, all the girlies bounce. Take 'em to my house, turn the party out. Bounce, 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 all the girlies bounce. Take 'em to my house, turn the party out.
You warned me 1,000 times, memories can kill ya, but I didn't hear ya. I thought that I could fly, but woke up on the asphalt. I swear there was the last time. I've always been naive, call it